If you are planning on buying a remaster on any recent games lately out there, my personal opinion, you're wasting your money. Okay, let's talk about that. First of all, before I get into this video, into this message regarding the recent remasters of video games or upcoming remasters on video games, the first thing I want to talk about is that I kind of decided to kind of change the way I do my channel on Game Jeff. I was kind of drifting away, trying to focus on recent trends and news that are happening in the video game world. For example, regarding the Nintendo Switch and the Mario Kart drama, overpriced systems, PlayStation deciding to raise their prices, and all these kind of things that are happening in the Nintendo world, PlayStation world right now. But I kind of want to change the channel on Game Jeff, because it is, at the end of the day, this Game Jeff channel is regarding nothing but games, okay? Nothing but games, and I want to try to keep it that way, okay? So I'm going to dial it back a little bit and trying to focus on other things and not really trying to go so much with the trend, okay? I have my personal reasons for that. Maybe one day I'll change it, but as of now, I really want to focus on the things that really I'm personally passionate about. And hopefully you will find some joy in that as well. And some of the topics that I'll be talking about, you'll find also interesting, okay? This is important for me because I really want this channel to grow and I need your support to make this happen. I personally have seen a trend that I personally don't like and don't really understand, okay? We have games out there that are really modern games that already are getting a remaster, okay? One of these games, for example, is Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster, which was recently remastered. And my personal opinion regarding that is that, honestly, I don't see a dramatic difference on the quality of the remastered version of Horizon Zero Dawn. What I'm saying is that I personally believe that any game that is above PlayStation 4 or actually in the PlayStation 4 level is not really worth it being remastered. You're not really going to see a dramatic difference on the quality of the image of the game, okay? You really don't see a big difference. I personally believe that if you have a game that is PlayStation 3 or older generation, older than PlayStation 3, would be worth a remaster, especially if it is a very popular game, okay? Then I have done some of those, okay? They have done some games that were really worth it a remaster. One of these games, for example, is the Tomb Raider the Tomb Raider series that came out back in the days for PlayStation 1. They remastered the first 6 Tomb Raider games, that started with Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5 and 6. They remastered all of those, and those games came out for PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Okay, those games were really worth a remaster. And besides that, I already played the first 3 of those, and the quality and the picture looks gorgeous, and it is really worth actually spending your money and actually purchasing those games. It's really worth your money, because it's just, and especially if you grew up with these type of games, if you grew up with Tomb Raider, you're really going to love the remaster version if you really appreciate the original one that came out, okay? The other one that I personally thought was also really a good remaster was, for example, it was the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit came back for, I think it was PlayStation 2, even early PC, and it was a really good game. I played it. It was a lot of fun. And that game was also really good. And having a remastered version of that was actually really worth it, That one was really worth it. And if you have not played Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, I would really recommend that. It was a really, really good game. More simplistic than the newer ones out there, but it's still, it has a few new elements that are put into the game, to enhance it besides the picture quality, okay? Now, let's go back to the games that I personally believe is a waste that you should not really remaster. And I think it was one of the biggest games out there that constantly get remastered, whether it's the first or the second one, don't matter which one it is the famous The Last of Us, Yes, we all know it's a great game, especially the first one. I'm not really like a huge fan of the second one because in the second one, there was just too much storytelling. There was just too much scenes in there, constantly cut you off, cut you out of the game. You really couldn't get into this game until another story pops up. I constantly had to kind of skip through this because I wanted to play the game, But that game is constantly being remastered. And now they've remastered the second part of Last of Us 2, which actually came out for... Did it come up for the PlayStation? I think it came up for the PlayStation 4 and then PlayStation 5. But, honestly, that game looks visually so stunning that remastered is just a waste. You're really not really going to see a gigantic difference. And now they got the PlayStation Pro enhanced version on top of that. And it's like, okay, you got to put that thing under a microscope in order to see the difference. Honestly, for me personally, if you have the original Last of Us 2 for PS4, you're going to be just fine on the game. You don't have to have a remastered version. You don't have to have a PS5 Pro enhanced version or the future PlayStation 6 version. You don't need to. The companies are really trying to resell the game over and over again just to make more money. Just to make more money on this darn thing, And I personally think it's just a freaking waste of time. Okay, waste of money and a waste of time and waste of money. Okay, don't waste your money on those remasters. And now they're talking about another remaster that's coming out in the near future. I think it's coming on this year, and it's Days Gone. Days Gone was a really high quality game. I think it came up for PlayStation 4. I don't think it was PlayStation 3. I think it was PlayStation 4. And I already can tell you right up front, don't buy that game. Don't buy the remake unless they added a whole new, more kinds of mechanics into the game. Then maybe yes, you could consider it, but only if the price tag is properly. If the price tag is like freaking $59, you're wasting your money. Okay, just play the original Days Gone, especially if they have not really put anything other than the actual base game in there, the same they came up for the PlayStation 4. Don't waste your money because the quality of the PS4 is still very modern, okay? The PS4 has such nice graphics, and compared to the PS5, yes, there is a difference, but honestly, the PS4 does a tremendous job. The graphics are still up to date, and buying a remastered version of that is not worth it. I personally believe that if you buy a remastered version, it has to be a game that is PlayStation 3 and under. Okay, anything over that, PlayStation 4, even like PlayStation 5, now they got the PlayStation 5 enhanced version for PS Pro, you're wasting your money. Okay, I know I'm repeating myself, but don't do that, all right? With that said, that's my topic regarding this. I think there are other games out there. There are many games out there that are worth it, a remaster. But honestly, I love remasters, don't misunderstand me. But sometimes I would like to see a remake instead of a remaster. Certain games need to have a remake, Honestly, when the Tomb Raider remaster came out, I really loved it. It was awesome, but I would have been gone even more crazy if that would have been a remake from the ground up. That would be like freaking amazing. They did the same thing with Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3. They didn't bother with a big remaster. They just made a remake on that, and that was freaking amazing. And Tomb Raider, or the company that made Tomb Raider, they should have done the same thing that Capcom did with Resident Evil. They did a great job with that. And certain games, I personally believe, need to have a remake instead of a remaster. But I'm going to be talking about that in the near future. Probably next week, I'm going to be talking about the remakes situation, because I personally believe there are some games out there that are truly deserving a remake. Not a remaster, a remake. And I'll talk about those things very soon. With that said, guys, Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. And peace out, everyone.